Hi, my name is Amy Jankowicz, and today I'll be discussing the Universal Design for Learning and Educational Technology. The topics I will cover today include an overview of the Universal Design for Learning, an EdTech tool called Voice Memo App, the connection between this EdTech tool and the Universal Design for Learning Guideline 6.3 and differentiated instruction, an example of the Voice Memo app in use, and a summary of my findings. The Universal Design for Learning is a framework that allows educators to try and reach and teach all learners. This has us reflect on the reality that all of our students have different background knowledge, experiences, and abilities in our classroom. We need to be flexible and available of different alternatives to meet these different needs. The three principles include what students learn, how students demonstrate what they learned, and reflecting on why the student learns. Under there, we have guidelines that assist us as educators on how we can acknowledge and be available and flexible with representation, action and expression, and engagement. An EdTech tool I'd like to discuss today that I think complements the Universal Design for Learning is the Voice Memo app. This is an app that can be found preloaded on iPad, so it is already there for free. It gives the user the ability to record thoughts or statements in different audio files. So, for example, a teacher could record directions or sentence stems. A student can organize their ideas, plan a project, or repeat expectations in an audio file. The recordings can be given a specific file name to assist with organization, and recordings can be played as many times back as needed to assist with working memory. A connection between our Voice Memo app and our Universal Design for Learning falls under Action and Expression, Checkpoint 6.3. This addresses our students who have needs with their executive function. It facilitates managing information and resources to assist with their limitation of working memory. While students may appear disorganized, forgetful, and unprepared, we as educators can assist our students in how they show what they know through external organizational aids. So, with the Voice Memo app, we can have students record their thoughts, the research that they're conducting, the directions in their own voice, or intended language that they want to take from their voice and put into written language. Another way to use this app is to record directions, teacher prompts, or sentence stems. An example of its use to assist with organization and working memory includes putting one sentence per recording. So, one sentence that the student wants to record, they can then have one audio file to keep them organized. There's a direct correlation between our differentiated instruction and our universal design for learning. Our action and expression highlights how students can show what they know. This falls under differentiating the process the student may take to demonstrate their skill. So, in both of these areas, we're meeting the needs of our students and allowing them to have a scaffold to support them in showing what they know. An example of this in my first grade classroom is for a writing task for a student that I have who has autism. He struggles with organizing his ideas as well as remembering what he wants to write. I have recorded sentence stems for him to assist. So if I want him to write about a book that he's reading, I could record this story is about blank, and he could play back that recording as many times as needed to organize how he wants to respond to the prompt. He also, and how I'm mainly using it, is recording his planned ideas. So if one of his ideas were to say, I went to the park, he would record his voice. He then would be able to play it back as many times as he needs to, and he could label it idea one in his pre-writing process. He can keep replaying the specific file until what he put into words is transferred into written language. This not only supports my student with what he needs to have organized, it supports him in his memory, and I also think it is supporting him with his independence, and this is a great organizational ed tech tool for him. A summary of my findings is that the Universal Design for Learning framework lays out ways to meet the different needs of all students. And as educators, we are acknowledging that there are differences among our students and how can we support those differences. I've also found that the UDL Checkpoint 6.3 specifically provides educators with guidelines to meet the needs of students who may struggle with their executive functions, and that the Voice Memo app specifically can support our students in this area. An overarching takeaway is that we as educators need to acknowledge that students learn differently, have different experiments, and if we implement the UDL framework into our classroom, we have an inclusive environment for all types of learners with all different types of experiences. Here's my works cited. Thank you for listening.